Peace, y'all. So yeah, I, like some of you, I've seen this video of these people on in Chicago. They had this white man bound and gagged, like some young guys, young black peoples, on Instagram Live or Facebook Live. They had this young dude, or this white boy, bound and gagged, and they were cutting his hair, cutting his clothes off. If you haven't heard, recently this is in news. And I just wanted to give my thoughts on some of it. The first thing that I want to say and I want to stress to the people going out apologizing, saying black people got to do better, we doing this, and I'm sorry about this, we can't treat white people like this. That is completely ridiculous, and it needs to stop. Okay, this does not represent black people. Okay, I have never kidnapped him, and it's not that I haven't done it, it's that we have not sanctioned that behavior as a group. We do not do that behavior. That is on the fringe of a very small portion of us that we cannot control, okay, alone at this particular point. So that does not represent us. So stop telling yourself that it represents you. Stop apologizing. Stop saying weak black people, we got to do better, because this is not we. Okay, this is a few people who's got some serious issues, obviously. So that's the first thing I wanted to get out the way, is that does not represent us, and stop letting people think it represents us, make you think it represents us. Some things I do want to say though. I see they keep saying that he's a disabled man or whatever, and I'm not sure if he's disabled or not, but like the first thing I'm thinking when I'm watching the video, I'm like, if he's disabled, listen to the black people that are doing that, are accosting him. Clearly they're disabled too. Like, I mean, just listening to them talk. Listen to them talk, look at the fact that they're Instagram living some this type of activity shows you that clearly there's something wrong with them also. Alright? And I hear people, they're putting this on Black Lives Matter, which is ridiculous. This goes to the original point that I made in this video, that people are not going to, people want to put this type of activity on the whole race. But it's interesting that someone would say Black Lives Matter, because really you're making yourself sound silly. Because this is the reason that the Black Lives Matter movement exists. People are saying that Black Lives Matter so we can give care and attention to black lives, so things don't get to this point. That is the entire point. So things don't get to this point where we have people in the community who are resorting to this type of activity, and then you're showing that obviously they're so dumb that they were recorded. Okay, this is a lack of attention that leads to this. So if people are, this is the whole point that Black Lives Matter movement exists. But you want to go against it and try to make a mockery of it, because to most of these people talking this way, Black Lives Matter doesn't mean a group of activists and people that want to make a change. Black Lives Matter simply means black people. So they want to put that against all black people because, again, that's ignorant. Minhati says, for the black people who think they owe an explanation to white people, you are part of the problem. Exactly. Exactly. You don't owe anything to anybody for something that you didn't do. And you don't sanction as a group. We don't encourage that type of behavior. All black people talk about is loving white people. I have to argue with them all the time. They say, oh, man, well, we got to love everybody. That's all black people talk about. So, yeah, you can't blame this on us as a community, because getting back to the point of people saying Black Lives Matter, you rejecting Black Lives Matter is the reason that this is happening. Chicago is in America, okay? You have more people dying in Chicago than are dying in wars overseas. Black bodies have been dropping left and right, some Hispanic ones too, but black bodies for the most part have been dropping left and right in that city for years and years on end, and this has been one of the worst years to ever... Sorry, y'all, I had a phone call. But this has been one of the worst years that has ever happened. And what do you think is the product of an environment like that? The product of an environment like that is people who will torture you on a live camera and don't care, have no regard for life, no regard for what they're doing, no intelligence about what they're doing. Obviously there's no aim to the crime. See, this is the product of allowing a city to just become a complete cesspool like that. So you want to talk about Black Lives Matter, you should be looking at yourself. You should be looking at yourself. This is the reason people are saying Black Lives Matter, but America and people at large, they want to sit and ignore and scapegoat the people in Chicago, They want to use it as a convenient talking point and say, well, look at Chicago, look at Chicago. You should be helping Chicago. And if you don't want to help Chicago, don't be surprised when more white people get tied up, bound, and gagged. When more white people get killed and shot and caught in the crossfire of this. I know you didn't care all these times. You know how many black people have been caught in the crossfire of this? Most people, there was a big story about a 9-year-old boy who was killed as a result of the cesspool that has been created, and there's been no serious attention given by the federal government, no serious attention given by the mayors, the people in the city, no serious action. This should be taken very seriously, but it's not. So don't expect me to think that you're taking it serious, or I'm supposed to feel so bad. All of a sudden now one white person is on camera getting killed when you got black people dropping like flies. And this is something that is affecting us. And not only are they dying, you're also using it as a political talking point against us, just like you're trying to use it as a political talking point against us right now. Okay? But no, I'm sorry, you cannot simply just let hundreds of black people just keep dying, children getting caught in a crossfire, and don't think that the environment you're creating is going to spill out into another community and hurt other people. So yeah, a white boy got bound and gagged and tied up on camera, and and that's barbaric. Nobody is happy to see that. But we're not happy to see hundreds and hundreds of black people sit and die in a country supposed to be the greatest country in the world, and there's no real action taken. So if you don't want to take real action, you need to be prepared for the consequences of more of these things coming. Those people, they have no regard for their life. They have no regard for their life. They have nothing going on. It's clear. It's obvious. They say the white man was disabled. They're disabled. They're mentally disabled, clearly. So you're creating that. That was what you're creating. There's babies right now watching that, and that is what you're creating more of. So if you see this white man being hurt, if it takes a white man to get hurt for you to understand that this is something wrong, then you should be prepared, because more white men are going to get hurt. The more black people that get hurt, and trust me, black people are taking a way bigger L, but this is going to spill out into the larger community. And there's no way this is not going to spill out into the larger community. You can't sit and treat people like that. You can't turn a blind eye to this kind of thing. All right? So in conclusion, I wanted to say that we definitely, no one's applauding this. This isn't something we can applaud. Even us as black nationalists or people who are pro-black, this is not something you applaud, because this is not the type of direct resistance that we really need to do. It's not necessarily as productive, and these people are rogue. They're not a part of a grander scheme. Even philosophically, it wasn't a part of a grander scheme to make an attack against white people. This was just something they did that was silly and unorganized, and something they just did off the cuff. So we're not necessarily applauding it, but I will say this. As far as violence happening, would it not make more sense? Because the attention and the empathy that is happening as a result of this violence, if we look at it objectively, this violence helps more for people getting help, helps more for this ending, because it shakes and rattles more people. This violence from blacks to a white person, it gets more attention. It renders more empathy. Hundreds and hundreds of blacks have been dying before this, and it wasn't a big deal. Now everybody wants to say all these things, and white people care all of a sudden. Why aren't you just brushing it off like when the blacks die? So I'm just saying, logically, if we look at it, this violence, them doing this violence against this white man actually is making more sense than them doing violence against these other blacks in terms of what's going on. But we cannot applaud it, but don't look for no apology. Black people, you don't have to apologize. And also, hey, it is what it is. It happens. He said exactly how many apologetically black people had something to do with our own being killed and tortured daily. Yeah, exactly. This is happening daily. So that's really all I got to say about this, man. Don't blame yourself. Don't say they represent that. That is not us. Okay? I don't know anybody who would do something like that. I've never even done anything like that. Okay, most people I know, I've hardly even done any violence to anybody at all. So how does that represent me? I don't know anyone like that. And if you do a crime of that seriousness, why would you record it? That has nothing to do with black people at large. But it does have to do with the fact that you're ignoring in the type of community. There's an atrocity going on, and you're sitting back watching it, scapegoating them for a political talking point, and this is the result of it, man. Peace.